The Oklahoma Sooners are just a few days away from the commitment of the five-star defensive lineman Williams Nwaneri, and by some recruiting boards, might be the number one overall player in the class. I know a lot of Oklahoma fans are closely watching this recruitment, asking themselves, will Oklahoma finally overcome the struggles and land a five-star defensive lineman? And then, of course, you got David Stone later in the month, and David Stone has a quote out on the Twitters floating around. Something we got to talk about. Oklahoma's in on some offensive linemen. So, guys, before we dive into the latest on the Oklahoma Sooners recruiting trail, go ahead, jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are around the 2024 class for the Oklahoma Sooners. Additionally, the 2025 class seems to be heating up in the 2024 cycle, and you could imagine Oklahoma might end between 7 to 10 commits before the 2024 cycle is over. So, guys, go ahead, jump down in the comments below. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are, and let's jump right into it. Because the five-star defensive lineman Williams Nwaneri, this might be the only appropriate place to start, because Williams Nwaneri has been the talk of the town for Oklahoma Sooner fans, and honestly, if you're a fan of recruiting, college football fans in general. Because when you look at what Williams Nwaneri is able to bring, not only to the Oklahoma Sooners, but even to the Missouri Tigers, the Georgia Bulldogs, the Tennessee Volunteers, wherever he could choose to go, Williams Nwaneri is a game changer on that side of the ball. A guy that you would imagine they're going to put more than one guy's focus on him if he's in a place where he doesn't have other great defensive linemen around him. And that's going to be the thing about Oklahoma. If he comes to Oklahoma, he not only has the potential to play with a Jaden Jackson at nose tackle who just committed in this class, maybe some of the other guys that are committed and already on campus, but Williams Nwaneri has the opportunity to potentially play with David Stone if he decides to commit, Dominic McKinley if he decides to commit, Nigel Smith if he decides to commit, a Danny Okoye, you know it, if he decides to commit. And there are others that the Oklahoma Sooners are looking at as well. And you might say, Preston, well, that's a lot of if they decide to commit involved there. Well, yes, but I would tell you on 3 of those prospects, I feel really good about Oklahoma landing, maybe even 4 of them. But we'll just have to continue to watch this recruitment unfold for Williams Nwaneri. Now, you look at Dominic McKinley, the other 5-star defensive lineman, and there's been a lot of rumors that this man looks to be committing on September 1st, trying to get it out of the way before the season, and Texas fans feel good about it. And you would imagine Texas fans are going to feel good about this recruitment, especially after landing the 5-star edge rusher in Colin Simmons, the same day that the 4-star running back and a guy that, Oklahoma definitely would have liked to had, Caden Durham, ends up at LSU. But Texas fans get honestly, probably one of the biggest wins on the recruiting trail in the Steve Sarkisian era, and they're looking and they have their eyes set not only on Dominic McKinley, an OU target, but Zina Umeozulu as well. Now, my question is, if Oklahoma lands Williams Nwaneri, what is that going to look like for Oklahoma and Texas in the battle of Zina Umeozulu? Because he's going to be playing behind one of these two guys. If Williams Nwaneri does not end up at the University of Oklahoma, I would imagine the chances that Danny Okoye and Zina Umeozulu both end up in this class are very high, because it honestly might take both of them to equate the loss of a Williams Nwaneri on the recruiting trail, but it would definitely be a good way to substitute that loss if you lose Williams Nwaneri. Now, I don't expect Oklahoma to lose Williams Nwaneri. It seems like everybody feels that this kid is going to go to Oklahoma. I get that there's Missouri hype, but that only recently came as of recent. Oklahoma has been the constant in this recruitment, and that's why I like Oklahoma here to get Williams Nwaneri. Now, you look at Dominic McKinley, nothing's changed. I like Oklahoma there. I like Oklahoma for Danny Okoye now. You know what? After I've slept on it enough, after I've talked to him, I'm starting to really like where Oklahoma sits there. I like Oklahoma for Nigel Smith. And David Stone, well, I think that one's going to be a 50-50 flip on whether Oklahoma gets him or he goes somewhere else. Oklahoma or the field. But you know what? I definitely think David Stone has the potential to come in and change this class, and he's definitely got to be Oklahoma's number 1 target in this 2024 cycle. I know that's weird to say because Williams Nwaneri is ranked higher, but David Stone is a piece that can really change the mold and the scope of this program and the way that people think about Oklahoma on the defensive side of the ball, along with recruiting. Now, I talked to Michael Boganowski's dad not too long ago, and one thing that we're kind of getting the sense here is they don't really know what's going on with the recruitment. They're going to kind of let it roll out, and they're going to kind of just see what happens. Basically, the sense that I got was, listen, they're going to let Michael do whatever he wants. They're going to let him make this decision. And right now, he hasn't made up his mind, which honestly, I love parents like that, where yes, they want to be involved in their kids' recruitment, but ultimately they're going to let the kid go where they want to. And you know what? At the end of the day, any kid, whether it's Williams Nwaneri, Michael Boganowski, David Stone, it's hard for a kid to turn down some of these relationships that they build with these coaches, because you imagine they probably talk to these coaches quite often, if not every day. And so you start to build a connection and a development around these coaches and wanting to be around them and potentially go to play for them. It's kind of hard to turn these guys down. So that's going to be it on Michael Boganowski. Not too confident he lands in the class for the Oklahoma Sooners unless it wraps up before the end of August, just because I feel like Oklahoma is going to have to do something at this position. And I don't feel like you want to go into the season with only one safety and Jaden Hardy, because I would imagine you're losing Billy Bowman to the NFL draft this year. You're going to be losing Reggie Pearson. You're probably losing guys like Key Lawrence. And yes, I know you have a talented backfield there already, but you're going to want to replace at least 2 safeties and at least 2 corners this year because, well, Woody's going as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where Oklahoma continues to go on the recruiting trail there. We obviously know Eli Bowen's coming up towards his decision, but I don't expect Oklahoma to not get his recruitment. So I don't think any of you guys do either. I don't think any of you guys would disagree with me on that. Now, shifting gears a little bit and talking about the offensive line, because honestly, there was a piece of news today that came out around Oklahoma and offensive line recruiting, and that was the fact that the man of the hour, Jordan Seaton, announced he will be taking not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 official visits. He will be going to LSU on September 9th, the Florida Gators on September 16th, Oklahoma on September 30th, Ohio State on October 6th, Oregon on November 10th, and South Carolina on November 18th. The 4-star inside offensive lineman and the number 1 rated inside offensive lineman, giving the Oklahoma Sooners a look here, is definitely big time for Bill Bedenbaugh. The question is, if David Stone ends up committing to the University of Oklahoma, does that have any sway with Jordan Seaton to want to come play at OU? Remember, these are 2 guys that go up against each other in practice. They go to the same team. They've been around each other for a while. So you would imagine if Oklahoma can land a guy like Jordan Seaton, you land a guy like Grant Bricks, you already have Isaiah Autry committed. You already have potentially Daniel Akunkumi coming on board. I really like him, and I really think he's got to be a take if you're the Oklahoma Sooners. And then you've got Josh Isosa. That's a pretty good offensive line class, if I do say so myself. And I'm going to be curious where this one lands. You guys know me. I'll be trying to catch up with Jordan Seaton at the game, potentially getting the picture, kind of showing you guys exactly what Oklahoma could be getting there. So we'll have to follow up on that one. We'll have to have you guys stay noticed and keep posted there. But as far as Oklahoma goes on the recruiting trail for offensive line, nothing much that I've heard there other than, like I said, I really like Oklahoma for Daniel Akunkumi. And yeah, that's going to be about it on the offensive line. But David Stone, a guy that has been fairly quiet as of recently, as he's coming up on that August 26th commitment date, recently kind of talked to Chad Simmons with On3 and said this: if I had to pick 3 or 4 hats on the table, it'd be Michigan State. No surprise there. It seems like they've done a really good job at building a relationship with the 5-star defensive lineman. And Mel Tucker, you know what? He's doing a good job at trying to continue to stay in the race, although Michigan State's out of this thing. At this point, it's just a formality, I think, to have them on the table. But you never know. David Stone could throw a curveball. Miami, who, well, are you shocked that Miami's in this one? Another OU-Miami battle, and Miami's been pushing hard for the 5-star defensive lineman. And then he said Oklahoma. And the 4th one, it's up for grabs, honestly. So, hey, you look at his top 6, the Gators, they could try to come in hot because Billy Napier has to have a good recruiting season in the 2024 cycle. Hey, they've been doing pretty good so far. The question is, continue to build on the number 3 class that they have already. Can DJ Lagway not only try to sway the 5-star defensive lineman in David Stone, but also sway the 5-star wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, who a lot of people think could really and honestly be the best player in the 2024 class. Jeremiah Smith is just that talented. Now, kind of looking outside of the 2024 class, Oklahoma has targets on the board, and I would expect that. Let's see here. I'm recording this Friday night, but Saturday, I feel like Oklahoma will be getting a commitment from a 2025 player. And I would imagine that over the next couple of months, you might see another 1 or 2 commitments drop. Oklahoma is extremely hot on the recruiting trail in 2025. Kevin Sperry's putting in work. And although we will do another video about Nate Roberts later on down the road, Oklahoma is in contention to potentially flip the 4-star tight end. And you've already got the 4-star wide receiver Elijah Thomas out of Chakota, Oklahoma. Kevin Sperry, who plays at Carl Albert, the 3-star quarterback. The 3-star wide receiver Grayson Harris. And then, of course, the unranked defensive lineman Kamori Moore, who will be ranked as the senior season goes on. All those guys will be 4 stars. Kevin Sperry could be potentially a 5-star quarterback, depending on what he kind of puts up here at Oklahoma. I think he's probably got to win some state championships here, but it's going to be fun to watch that Carl Albert team. I'll be there. I know you guys will be there. It's something we have to pay attention to. But Kevin Sperry, he's just that dude on the recruiting trail. Kevin Sperry's getting it done for Oklahoma. You see him putting in the work, putting in the flips. He's got his own Twitter meme for when Oklahoma gets a commitment. So, guys, you've got to be paying attention to what Kevin Sperry is doing on the recruiting trail, because Kevin Sperry, next to Jackson Arnold, is the future of Oklahoma football. When Jackson Arnold's going to the NFL, Kevin Sperry is going to be able to step in as a tenured offensive player. And yeah, I'm loving where Oklahoma's at in the future of the 2025 class. So guys, go ahead, jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are around the recruitment of some of these 2024 recruits. Obviously, I know 2025 is hard for some of you guys to get excited about. I would like to hear what you guys think about the 2025 class and what the Oklahoma Sooners are doing, because in reality, no matter what way you look at it, it's still impressive.